Worth County Board of Commissioners meeting for December the 19th, 2013.
Meeting of the Worth County Board of Commissioners come to order. We have a quorum and our accommodations are met. Stand with me at this pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Joe, would you lead us in a word of prayer?
Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, we thank you for this time that you've allowed your children to come together to carry on the business of the county. We pray that your presence be with us and your spirit of righteousness and justice. We pray, Almighty God, that you give us the strength, the knowledge, the wisdom, and the skill to do what you have put us in place to do. And that when it's all over, you can say, well done, my good and faithful servant. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Clerk will call the roll.
Commissioner Gaines,
Present.
Chairman Cosby,
Here.
Commissioner Bozeman,
Here.
Commissioner McDonald,
Present.
Attorney Rawl.
Present.
Okay, as we begin our agenda tonight, recommend approval of the agenda. Are there any changes?
Mr. Chairman, I have a change,
Okay.
an addition. On the new business, I need to acknowledge the request for proposal for cleaning the carpet in the courthouse. And on the District 1, have some personnel consideration. That's it.
Okay. Making that a motion, Mr.
Make a motion that the agenda be amended to include those items.
Okay, is there a second?
Second motion.
All in favor? Okay. Okay, with those considerations there, I will make a motion, make a recommendation that we approve the agenda.
Motion that we approve the agenda with those corrections.
Is there a second? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, as we move forward with the agenda, we have several sets of minutes that need to be approved here this evening. I've corrected and read them over, and I make a recommendation that we approve these minutes as a whole unless there is no objection.
Mr. Chairman, there's one more correction needs to be done on December the 3rd. It's on page 12. Monies is spelled wrong under acknowledgements. Should be M-O-N-I-E-S. And with that correction, I'll make a motion to approve September 24th, October the 1st, October the 10th, October the 24th, November the 5th, regular meeting, November the 5th workshop, regular meeting on the 21st of November, and December the 3rd. And that catches us up with 5 hours that I have spent down here with Renee.
Is there a second?
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
I hope that we can keep these minutes up to speed. It's getting close to Christmas, Madam Clerk, and we would like those minutes. Are you off after Christmas?
That is correct, sir.
Okay, well, we're gonna need those minutes. We have to burn the midnight oil, because we're gonna need those minutes by Monday evening.
Let's keep it to the next, we can do it.
Okay, doke. Okay, as we move forward with our agenda, Sheriff Hobby, you're first up.
All right, I just got a couple of things I want to run by the board. The first one, I need to do something about my evidence. I've got to have an evidence room. We've taken evidence in closets and corners of safes down there and everything else. I've got a proposed building right here, 25 by 40, steel building, that we can build on the vacant lot right the other side of the jail. That we can secure, fence around and secure, we can house our evidence and stuff in that room. Now, opposed to taking it out of the SPLOST fund on the improvements to building the grounds, where we can get the money from. Yeah. But what we're looking at on the building is $36,032 to build it. That's everything except for the fence. And all this is just one quote. I mean, I know we'll have to get several different quotes from other people. But I just got this as a ballpark figure, so we know what we're working with.
Joe, do you know how much money you got in that building?
In buildings?
Got it down in your stash.
We got money in there, enough of this. Cause there was 800,000 put in there for recreation, buildings. And I think we collected all that 104 at least. We've got 623,236.83 has been set aside out of this 850.
And that's,
In the SPLOST fund, SPLOST 5.
okay.
So we got the money in.
250,000, that's supposed to go to Public Works for building.
Correct.
Not out of this part.
One of them.
No, it comes out of SPLOST, but it doesn't come out of this. These are the countywide projects, and this comes under countywide because everybody has to use the check.
Okay.
we got money in that business.
You just need probably a couple more bids on it, Sheriff.
No, we have to, our bid policy for the county is anything over $20,000 has to be sealed bids.
Mhm.
So, if this is the plan,
Right.
then we need to send out these specs.
This right here has got the concrete, steel building,
Yep.
doors and everything. All thing don't have is the fence around it and the dirt to come in and build, level up for the ground. We get that from the county.
Yeah, that can be in it.
Huh?
Fence
That-
not included.
Fence is not included in this right here.
But you're not talking about, what, $1,500 because you're gonna join it into the other fence?
Well, it'll be a separate fence together, we're gonna have to keep that alley.
Yeah, but you're talking about 40 by, what'd you say, 40 by 20?
25.
Well, Chairman, I have a question I'd like to ask the Sheriff.
All right.
Is this a total package, proposed from golf or everything?
Well, they're from Doug Goff.
Right.
What he's proposed, the county's gonna be the general contractor. You got.
It's gonna be his own contractor,
Oh,
he's gonna
okay.
sub it.
That's right.
That's what he's saving money on.
That's
We
usually
got,
a good way to
Ty-
save money.
Tyson's gonna build the building. We got
Mhm.
Sealy's Concrete's gonna come
Oh,
and pour the
okay.
slab.
All right.
Then you got Golf's gonna come and do the electrical work in.
On this,
On
on this proposal.
On this proposal,
But when we
right.
bid it, it may be different.
It may be different, cause whoever y'all bid it to may wanna do all the work themselves.
But
Well,
what you're saying is these specs can be sent out.
Right.
Okay.
and we do, I mean, I'm not trying to get around anything, don't get me wrong. And thank goodness we have a good attorney sitting beside him over here. But we will, y'all are saying we will, even this is gonna be handled the way the sheriff has explained. It wouldn't be like one person, all the money going to one person. It'd be the building coming from one.
Right.
Other work coming from.
What'll be when Sealy if we go by this right here and Sealy does it, the concrete work, we'll pay Sealy for the concrete work. When the building's done, when Tyson gets through with the building, we'll pay Tyson for the building. When Doug Goff gets through with the electrical work, we'll pay Doug Goff for the electrical work. And then whoever does the fence, we'll pay them for the fence.
It is totally different from just sending a bid out, because I'm
Right.
afraid once we send these bids out for this, we're gonna be looking at a lot more money.
Oh, yeah.
If we could.
But if we break it
some
down
way
like-
We could do it this way, there ain't no question in my mind, I think it would, I feel it would save a good bit of money.
How much was the building? How much did he quote you on the building?
He didn't put me no prices down there. He just put that one price in there.
He did. Okay.
Okay, if you've seen, you put your bids out, unless the paper will put them in tomorrow. It'll be next Thursday before you can get them in, so we would have to open those bids on the 16th, at the 16th meeting.
You got to run for 2 weeks.
Yeah, that would be 2 weeks. 26. Yeah, that'll be 2 weeks.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we send out the specs for the, evidence building for the sheriff's department. And we got a copy of the specs here. And then we open on, you said it was January the 16th?
Mm-hmm, that's gonna be, unless they'll put it in tomorrow. Is anybody here from the local?
Well, today at 5 was the deadline, but
Okay.
she'll be there in the morning if you want to talk to her and see if she can
Okay.
get it in. We're having to do
Okay.
it early because of the holidays, so.
Okay.
Yeah, if you can get them in tomorrow, still gonna push it tight. We might could do it on the 7th, but I'd be a lot safer on the 16th.
Yeah, that'd give the people too that's gonna bid on it a fair chance because of the holidays.
Right.
Yeah, so we'll open the bids on the 16th.
Okay.
Okay, was there a second to, Ms. Bozeman's motion?
Second motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Uh,
It's 4.
We fixed it. Yeah, we threw it a bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got that.
What I'm proposing right now, I need two positions. I need an amendment of the budget, add two positions to the jail, one to the jail and one to the sheriff's office, is what I'm asking for. As far as the jail budget, I'm asking for a sex offender officer. What that is, that's somebody that can keep up with the sex offenders, and they come in, they register on their birthdays, or when they get out of prison, they have to come register. We have to keep up with them. And at the same time, we've got to take pictures, photographs of everything. We got to go out to their houses, take pictures and photographs, take photographs of the cars, what they drive, and we got to keep up with them on a monthly basis. Got to go to their employers and keep up with where they are employed at, make sure they're where they're supposed to be, conforming to the rules of their probation and their rules to the sex offender registry. I got a yearly base, and I also got the 6 months for the next 6 months. The one on the left is what the yearly salary will be. One on the right is to finish out this year for 6 months for that. And the next position is for another clerk in the sheriff's office, with some of the mandates they bringing down on us, like the restriction of the records and stuff like that. I've got the more civil papers we're getting increased volume of civil papers in, and we're getting increased volume of warrants and stuff in. And I've got to have some more help in the office. And the same thing, I got the yearly salary and I got the 6 month salary. I didn't know what it'd be.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, you've already replaced the jailer that's transferred out into the sheriff's office.
And that's it. I'm sure.
Will this position,
I need a new position,
oh, okay.
is what I need. I'm 2 jailers short right now. In my budget, I'm having to hold off on hiring one to get my budget where I can end up the year. That's how come my overtime in the jail is skyrocketing. Because when I have one jailer, I got 2 positions, I ain't got one jailer sitting at the jail. And when she gets sick or he gets sick, I'm having to bring another jailer in to fill that position. Well, that's 12 hours overtime, every time I have to do that. So, the position I'm transferred over to a deputy, I'm supposed to have one starting December 30th to fill that position, but I'll be one more jailer short. And I need to fill that position with a jailer. The sex offender is gonna be an actual road deputy. That her primary, or his primary job will be sex offenders. And when she's not doing, or he's not doing sex offenders, then he'll be serving civil papers and working the courtroom.
So what are you asking for outside of what you already have budgeted?
Right, I'm asking for an amendment of the budget.
To add one other person?
For the jail, I'm adding one other person, that's sex offender officer, right? And we're looking at $18,817, that's with the salary, the payroll taxes, and the insurance.
What's your number?
71 is the jail. 7 is the SA. far as jail, then I got a person that's fixing to take April Young's place in the jail. And I still gotta have a jailer that goes with Rhonda Carter in the jail. She's working shift right by herself right now.
Question, Sheriff.
Mhm.
This Odom person, is that one you already hired? Or is that the
I'm
one?
in the
you
process
planned?
of hiring.
The process of hiring,
Mhm.
but that doesn't fill the position you're asking for.
That fills the position of April Young.
All right.
He's not a certified officer. He's he'll be a jailer. I got to have a certified officer as a sex offender deputy. None of my actual jailers are certified officers.
Okay. So based on the figures I'm looking at, you got about $13,000 or thereabouts.
In the jail.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I said now, I've got to have two more jailers. We're fixing
Yeah,
to get- we-
this is
we're fixing to get in
including
a
the-
tight, what we're fixing to do, because Rhonda is working by herself in the jail down there. She's got 40 inmates that she's looking after. So I
No,
mean, we
no,
got to
what-
have, I got to have another jailer to work with her. Right now, April, I just got her certified, I fixed to put her on the road, that's where I got the Odom taking her spot. But I'll be working with Inez Sparrow, because Inez is working by herself in the jail with 40 inmates.
The numbers I'm referring to is the Odom person and April's salary. Since April's moving, Odom takes April, you still got enough money for another person and 13,000 over. If you're not considering, and at some point, we're gonna have to consider the fact that you're already over in overtime.
I'm well over and over
Yes,
that.
you are. But for a moment, if we ignore that, then you can hire the Odom guy or girl, whoever it is, in another position. And you still will have 13,000 left over. But that's not gonna,
I still need another 5.
that's not be enough to carry the full year.
Carrying 6 months with it.
And we'll need 18 to carry me to 6 months.
18.
I need 18 days to carry me to 6 months.
Mr.
So
Chairman,
that'd be another $5,000 on that 13,000, what I need.
Yes,
The
Mr.
figures that Mr. Gaines were, going over there, would you repeat those, what you had determined was in there?
Let me give you a copy of this slide.
Okay. Cause the column to the right is, talking about finishing out this year's budget.
Column to the right is for
Which,
finish
which
6
is,
months. Column to the left is what the yearly
17,694.
salary is.
And the total figure down on here was coming out at 13,937.
I got one of those.
Okay. And then, so we fairly close in there. And I certainly know when the sheriff's come before us up here, he's needing what he needs, and we need to do everything we possibly can to try to to meet that, because all of you know that things are not getting any better out there, it's only getting worse. And it don't look like it's gonna continue that way. And
So Sheriff, can you, your budget in the drug squad looks extremely healthy.
Yeah, I've got another drug agent starting January 1st.
So you have 2 people.
I have 2 people in there, and I've got enough for another deputy. I'll probably have to utilize that to take up space where Mike Lamb has resigned.
May I address?
Yes, ma'am.
The $36,511.62 will get you to the budget year, is that correct?
Yes. It sure will.
Okay.
make it
On this paper that
Now,
you gave me this afternoon, and what's left in the budget, and you figured this through the 18th, and I'm looking at the budget that was figured through November. There's a total of $62,319.62 left in your budget.
Sheriff's
Under
office.
salaries, if I go all the way through June the 30th.
In the sheriff's office. Right, so I was gonna split these up, I was gonna put one in the jail and one under the sheriff's office. Is what I was gonna,
Yeah.
to help offset the cost.
So, should be good.
You mean it should be good if we provide the 36,000?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying, Mr. Bowles?
The way he's gonna split them up.
Is he gonna have the money, excuse me, is he gonna have all the money in the budgets transferred? What's he gonna do, transfer funds around from the jail to the
Right.
sheriff's office and drug
Sex-
squad?
Sex offender is gonna be hired under the jail. There won't be no money transferred from the jail to the SO. The clerk is gonna be hired through the SO. And what I have to do when if I hire another deputy for Mike Lamb, I hire him under the drug squad, but he'll work in the SO. His money will come from the drug squad.
And Tommy's still out, right?
Tom is still out. I doubt he'll ever come back.
So his salary was figured in there.
Mhm.
I think we need to look a little bit closer at it. I'm not saying we're not gonna give you what you want, but I think we need to look at this thing a little bit closer and make sure the money is there to do exactly what you're wanting to do, because we're at the state of pinching pennies now, and we just need to be sure that the money is going to be there to do what you want to do.
You can think about this, about the sex offender. I mean, you can pinch pennies right here on this, but if something happens and we don't have everything documented on them sex offenders, they can come back and bite this county a whole lot more than what 18,000 will.
Yeah, but we still have to look at the budgeted items, and what you're proposing is not gonna cover your budget. Your current budget is not gonna cover what your
Right.
proposal is because
That's
of
why
the
I'm asking
different
for a
things.
budget amendment.
Right, I understand that. So in order for us to give you a budget amendment, that means we gotta go back and find out where we're gonna get that monies from
Mhm.
in order to amend your budget. Because every department is so tight now,
Mhm.
so it's gonna be up to us. That's what we have to do, go find the money,
That's fair.
and we'll have to get back with you on that.
But in the meantime, we need to let him go ahead and get this sex offender officer. I don't know if y'all know it, we had a child snatched in Worth County Money was a week ago.
Down in the summer, that's right. lucked out on that deal.
I know you got that right.
Mr. Chairman, when I don't know, I can only ask the question. I know the sex offender officer is probably the most crucial. I know down in the clerk of court's office, of course, the sheriff would know far more about that than I would. I know they are one of the heavier staff and number of people working in there. Will a clerk from there could be any help if they could spare one from there until we could?
That's the clerk is totally different from the sex offender.
Okay.
And where my clerk is, she's gonna be answering the phone, she's gonna be putting warrants and civil papers and all that stuff in the thing, in the system. Now, I've called around in different counties comparable with my same size. You know, I've had 2 people working in my office. Every other county I've got, comparable with the same size I've got, you've got 5 to 7 people as clerks in their office, just to keep up with the paperwork. And every one of them done said, when I told them I didn't have it too, they said, we don't see how you doing it. You know, just, I mean, my 2, they work from the time they get there to well after, sometimes they work at 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night, just to try to stay caught up.
Okay, yes, thank you. You've answered my question, and I understand that.
You don't have a deputy that could do this sex offender
This is when all his employees are still in.
till the, budget time comes along?
This is when it's.
I've got all my deputies, road deputies and all that stuff, and their kitchen calls and all that. I mean, that's what we doing now.
Yes, I know.
We doing it with the deputies we got, but we don't staying up with them. I mean, we're just not keeping up with them like they're supposed to be kept up with.
Take this figure right here, subtract that, you get 60. Sheriff's office.
Cause I've got 2 investigators that's investigating all the crimes that's happening in this county. I really need another investigator, criminal investigator. And my road deputies, I mean, I've got 4 road deputies a shift that's covering this whole county. And Mike Lamb quit, and that dropped me back down to 3 on one of them. So, I mean, it's just, I'm short-handed. I mean, there's no simple fact to it, I'm short-handed.
But this will, correct some of your overtime too.
It will.
They will, yes, they will be not enormous, but they will be some reduction in overtime.
Exactly.
I mean, the way we going right now, my overtime on the SO, it's not gonna make budget.
What you getting, 24,889?
But the total he needs is $36,511.62.
That'll cover my 2 new employees that I'm asking for.
That gives you the sex offender officer.
$13,730. I still got a problem there where you going to pay for that $8,498.65 in overtime. That's gotta be paid for somewhere.
That's right. As long as I stay short-handed, that overtime's gonna keep going on up.
But it's still gotta be paid for even, you know.
I agree with you.
Even if you do hire somebody else. I think we need to look at this budget a little bit closer and see exactly where we are.
If you get the sex offender on board, what does that do in terms of your budget?
What we're doing in terms of our budget.
Yeah, does it still continue to rise as it's going now? I know you need the other people in the other positions, the deputies in the jails. So the sex offender being on board is not gonna help alleviate the problem at the jail.
It's not gonna help me. I've got to hire 2 more jailers.
Yeah.
And that's already budgeted in the budget, 2 jailers on.
Yeah, well,
I just waited on 1 jailer, hired 1 jailer until I get closer to the end of my budget. So I'll make sure I don't go over that budget on that.
so as far as that, you can proceed with that.
Yeah, proceed with jailers. I'm not asking if y'all can hire 2 jailers.
Yeah.
I'm asking for a sex offender deputy.
A sex offender and a secretary.
The jailer's out of question.
Right.
I'm not even coming for y'all to ask for a jailer.
Yeah, I just wanna get it clear because we're saying all of these things in the same sentence.
Right.
I will commit to burning the midnight oil, trying to find the monies for the sex offender. Or if the rest of the board wants to do that. But as far as the clerk, in addition to that, we gotta look at the monies, we gotta make sure we have monies. Cause right now, we're really squeezing it tight.
Well, you gotta look at it like this. I mean, I hate to throw the fire department under the bus, but they send there 67% of their salary and wages already burned. And you hire 2 firefighters and 10 part-time firefighters.
Well, part-time's not gonna cost us anything.
Yeah, but them 2
Work.
full-time though. And they had 67% of their budget done spent already, so where you gonna come up with the money to pay them?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Everybody asking for monies. We
That's
can't
right.
say just fire department, you get it, sheriff, you get it. We gotta find a way to try to find enough money to spread around to ease the pain in every department. We don't have the monies to give you guys what you need.
I understand that. All right.
I think we need to discuss this somewhat more. I have a problem with the jails, but sex offender, the clerk too, I think we're gonna have to look for money on that. I mean, we just can't keep spending money.
All righty, thank
These
you.
folks out here, they got to pay the bills, so.
Okay, that means that we don't need to be cleaning no carpets and no nothing else. We need employees on board, so we need to drop all this other mess that's being done out here and spending money.
Just because one issue doesn't pass, it doesn't mean you shut down the government.
Mr. Chairman, Kelly said that she can run that, this coming next week, has to be in the morning by 8:30, has to be in her office.
Okay. Sheriff, can you have that down at the,
Yes, sir.
local in the morning? What'd you say, by 8:30?
8:30.
Okay.
She'll get it in.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Mr. Shavak? There you are.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Attorney, Clerk. Today, I'm just gonna kinda cut it short. I wanna wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Enjoy your families. This is what this season is about. It's about the birth of the Lord, and I just hope and pray that next year we come back here with some open minds and open hearts, that we do what's best for the county and keep ourselves out of it. I think it's what is best for the county is what we gotta do, and that's gonna be my prayers over these holidays, that we come back after the first and we do what's best without putting ourselves into the picture. So that's, it's about all I got to say, for today, and I'll be here on the 7th and we'll start all over again. Thank you.
All right, sounds good. Okay, as we move on forward with the agenda, next item is the special elections. I think all of y'all probably got a letter or a copy of This is Ms. Andrews that has the election scheduled for March 18th, 2014. And the qualifying was, let's see.
All we got to do is set the qualifying fees for the
Mhm.
election next year. And the law is very clear on it, it's 3% of the
Yes.
big salaries we make.
Okay. She's got here the qualifying fee at $176.26.
That's wrong, that's wrong. The law says 3% of the base salary.
That's correct.
108, 108, okay. See if she's got it corrected anywhere.
She doesn't have it corrected.
She doesn't. It was
But she
108,
does know it's 3%.
108. Is that even? Okay. I thought I saw it here. She had the.
It was either this time or last time, we have the state law.
I was trying to find when she had the qualifying days. Thought I saw it on this thing.
13th
Yeah, 13th, 14th, and the
15th.
noon on the 15th.
of January
Yeah, okay,
for the special election.
yeah. Yeah. Okay,
So I'll make a motion that the qualifying fees be set at 3% of the base salary, which is $108, isn't that what y'all figured?
Yes.
108. Okay, is that second?
Second motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next is LMIG road list. Come on up, Matthew, and give us the good news.
I'm gonna have to be excused a couple of minutes, please.
All right. Good evening, Commissioners. Good to see y'all again. As we've been, as y'all know, we have to have our LMIG project list turned in by December 31st this month. The LMIG list, of course, is the money for the state that they give us. This year, I think we get $690,000 will be the contribution from the state. We have to match that with 30% of our own money. Presented to you, Mr. Gaines, did you get your copy from Renee? There's a report here with 3 pages on it. The first page is the list from last year, was our LMIG list from last year that we submitted. Has 4 roads on it. One was for total new construction of a new project, Carlton Road, and 3 resurfacing projects, part of Massey Airport Road, Spring Flats Road, and Woodcrest Road. If you flip the page, you'll see our proposed list for 2014. There are 4 road projects on this list. They're all resurfacing for this year. We have no new road construction projects for the 2014 year. Rice Chapel Road, Red Rock Road, Sumner Road South, and Spring Flats Road. And those are all segments of those roads. If you flip the last page in your booklet there, there's actually a summary of all the road projects we have for both years. We have a total of about $1.7 million we've got to spend to meet the GDOT standards of what they're going to spend, plus our match, our contribution. Not shown on this list is the amount of money that the county has already spent as part of Carlton Road. We can use up to 30%. Part of our 30% match off that one project, which works out to just under $100,000. So when you add that in, our total road list projects for the 2 years would be $1.687 million, which is close enough to our 1.7 we've got to have as our match. Of these roads, the segment on Spring Flats Road, there are 2 segments. It'd be about 4 miles coming from the county line, starting back this way, which is the end of that road. That's the worst portion. It's the section of Sumner Road that's just south of Highway 82, which is one of those bad segments. A lot of Sumner Road, a lot of Spring Flats Road, and a lot of Red Rock need to be worked on, which is going to take a chunk at a time. Basically, the way you need an elephant, you do it one bite at a time. These roads are too big to fix in any one year, and we're going to start taking big chunks out of each of them. And as soon as we get, Red Rock, Rice Chapel, these major roads taken care of, we start moving into some of these lesser roads that are in bad shape but are used by less people. And mainly the priority for this year is get those roads that the most people use that are damaged, that need help, take care of those first. And as we start making improvements in those areas, we start moving to other areas. I know every district has a list of 5 or 6 roads, you know, some districts, 10 roads they wanna have worked on. These are just the ones we know that the most people use and can do the most benefit the most people in the county.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
And I might ask you this afternoon, but I'm fixing to ask you again. I get a lot of complaints on Sumner Road down there. So you gonna do that in 2 phases from 82 to Scooterville Highway?
It'll actually be about 3, cause that segment's about 6 miles long, 5.5 miles long.
So-
We're gonna take from 82 down to Hansel Road.
Right.
It's about
2.3.
2.3 miles. The next segment will be from Hansel Road down to Pine Forest Road, and then Pine Forest Road down to 256 is the plan. It'll take 3 years to pay that segment, because we don't wanna spend all the money in one district in
Right,
one
I
year.
understand.
But that is the plan, yes, ma'am. Kinda like we did on Spring Flats last year, and we're doing another portion of it this year.
Of course, that's not in my district, but I get the calls.
Oh, absolutely. It's a road a lot of people use. Every road on this list, everybody in the whole county should know where they are. These are very well-traveled roads and ones that a lot of people use to and from work, and traveling to and from places of business and places to play and live.
Now, that's no problem in transferring this money from 2013 to the 2014 projects.
No, sir. When I talked to Jeff Bridges, y'all got the check for last year. Y'all, in the next 6 months, begin the check for next year. What Jeff said is on a 2 or 3 year cycle, he wants to see an audit of every money we spent. And as long as those numbers match up to the numbers we're supposed to spend, we're gonna be in good shape. They're gonna keep giving us that money every year. And as y'all know, the monies are slightly going up each year. Obviously not enough to keep up with the amount of roads we have to maintain. But as long as we're on a 2 or 3 year cycle, they can look back and look at the last 2 years and see we spent the money that we're supposed to spend. They're gonna keep giving us that check. And as long as we keep those you know, kind of a 2 or 3 year rolling log, and it doesn't matter that we spent more money in 2013 than we did in 2014. It's just kind of an average of all the years. We gotta be able to spend that money and show we're doing our max. That's the most important thing that GDOT's looking for. If we don't spend our portion, they're gonna start cutting back on their portion, which we don't want. We all know we have a lot of roads to work on, and we wanna make sure we get as much money as we can in the state and spend as much of their money and less of our money.
Right. And I believe you told me that they were gonna start on Carlton Road, Oxford, after the first of the year, right?
Yes, they'll start going out and prepping the base. The paving of that, I think, has to be above 60 degrees in the average temperature of the day before they can pave. So maybe into February or early March before they can do it, but that's totally weather and temperature dependent. But as soon as they can, we don't want to lay asphalt in cold weather. It gets brittle and does bad things. But as soon as it gets warm enough, I've had assurances from Jay Griffith at Oxford, they're gonna do it as soon as possible.
Okay.
And also, as we discussed, when we get the check in for the next year, we wanna go ahead and do those as soon as possible, so we're not waiting in that next year. We get the check kind of, you know, the May, June, July range. Let's go and have those things out of contract then, versus having to wait so far like we have in the past years.
May I ask you a question?
Sure.
Mass Airport Road, Spring Flats, Woodcrest, that's the ones that we've already let the bid on.
Right.
Yes, ma'am, those first three listed on the top. The 2, 3, and 4, Carlton Road, then we got 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
So-
Oxford had the lowest bid on that. and I
Right,
think
are they
we're
gonna
pretty
honor
close.
this bid going into 2013, they'll honor it?
Yes.
So all we need to do is let them know, because you never sent them a letter because we were up in the air. But we've already accepted the bid, so that's all we need to do, is let them know that they can start resurfacing these roads as soon as the weather gets.
Remind me how long ago that bid was? Was that 2 months ago or 3 months ago?
When the bid was?
Yeah, for the LMIG.
It's December.
No, it was, November.
November, I think it's the
I think
first,
it's
I think it's the
November.
We
first.
typically
meeting
have
in
60
November.
days to accept them. If it's outside the window, we'll need to contact Oxford and check. I think in our bid package, it says that these bids may not be removed for 60 days, I believe is correct.
Yeah, that's correct.
We need to look in there and make sure that we're not 60 days outside that, but as long as we're in that window and we're awarded within 60 days, there's no issue. If we're outside the 60 days, there could be asphalt changes, price changes, and they could go up or down, but typically they go up.
I
But
think
we'll
we're
have
in
to
the
check for
60-day
the 60-day
window.
window, we're okay.
Yeah, I think we opened those bids at that first meeting in November, I believe
Okay.
we did.
Yeah, we just need to approve them within the 60 days and get it back to them, for them to begin the process.
So that's the chairman and the clerk's job to get that letter to them.
Whoever's willing to sign off on it, they'll take it from.
We'll sign it.
But with your approval, this will be the list we send it to the state. We'll submit it before the end of the year. and get it into Jeff Bridges' hands so he can get all the paperwork going and get it processed for us.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we send in this LMIG list to the state and have it there by December 31st.
Okay, got a second? All in favor? Aye. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Matthew, you don't have to hang around, cause I already got mine handled this afternoon.
I'll start every list now. Thank you, Betty.
Thank you. Have a Merry
I'm
Christmas.
gonna- Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
he and I sit at table late tonight, I'm gonna make at my time a thing. I just want him to tell you that he was a witness that heard what this gentleman walked up to the table and made a statement to me, is that correct?
Tell him the statement first before I agree to it. Tell him the statement first before I agree to it. Yeah, we had a conversation. There was a gentleman making a lot of turnarounds in his driveway and messing with his driveway and
No,
running it out for
he was
him.
mainly talking about this county and getting things straightened out and getting things going and get beyond all this mess that we've been dragging through. And he's not the only one. I see a lot of people every day of my life. In the last 2 weeks, that's all I've heard out of the people.
There's a lot of people wish well for this
But you
county. He
were sitting
certainly,
there,
he certainly was.
He walked up to me, right?
Yes, sir,
I
he
didn't
did.
go to him.
He did.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
I
Have
have
the same.
a
Merry
witness
Christmas.
right there.
Good gracious.
Is this splash application somewhere? I put my hands on it. I didn't see it during my quest. She's got it right here. Okay, the new business to approve splash application. This is the county's match for the CDBG block grant for Joyce Road. We have a matching fund of $18,000 and some change. And this application is for $8,186. I recommend that we go ahead and approve this.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the application for the CDBG grant on Joyce Rose for the drawdown on the CDB grant in the amount of $8,186.
Okay, that's a splash, that's a splash payment.
Splash payment, yes.
Right, right. We have a second? I can't second this, but we have to match this. And whether you're against the CDB block grant or what, this is gonna have to be paid. Sir?
It's gonna have to be paid.
Yeah, it's got to be paid, whether it's a second or not, it's gonna have to be paid. There's no second on that motion. Okay, the next one is, next item is the cleaning of the carpet here in the courthouse. We have two bids, one from Roy's Carpet Clean for $700 and one from Stanley Steamer for $3,780. I recommend that we approve the bid from Roy's Carpet Clean for $700.
I make a motion that we approve the bid for Roy's Carpet for $700.
Okay.
Cleaning the courthouse and the annex
Okay.
carpet.
Okay, is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, I'll second that.
Okay.
The day I had a reason to be in, normally I don't go in different offices, in the courthouse. But, for the safety of the smell starting to develop. We all know carpet, if it's not cleaned on a regular basis, it gets that, I don't know what you call or refer to it, but I can't hardly stand carpet that's brand new, and if I had to let mine get 6 months old, I'd have to move out of my own house, so that's why I'm seconding, the carpet desperately is in need of it.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
No.
Okay, under the commission's agenda, Mr. Gaines? Mr. Chairman, this is pretty much housekeeping personnel. Already happened, but we need to bring the paperwork up to par. So it's 2 employees for personnel consideration who has been placed in different positions through promotion or assuming another person's position. The hour rate of pay is noted to the top, and the proposed new rate of pay is at the bottom. Okay.
Do what now? What office are they in?
Pass on down.
Is the money in the budgets to cover that, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Better look at that.
I'm thinking.
What's going on down there in the table? I can do that.
considerations in the back of our agenda.
Because they come up after the fact. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that these personnel consideration for Renee Whitby and Marcy Aaron be approved with the adjustment in pay.
I'll second that motion. I have a question. I noticed on that said, as a promotion, my understanding that she was, moved to, interim director at with no time designated as to how long she might be at that position. Is that right?
That's correct, but she came from a dispatcher into that
Okay.
director, so that is
So you say it.
that is a promotion.
Okay, I got you. All right. I'm clear.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? I will vote aye.
So I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Mr.
Ms.
Chairman,
Bud-
to
ma'am?
confirm the vote, I'm sorry, is that a 3-1?
3-1.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Ms. Bozeman?
Call on
Yes, ma'am. You're next. Play Miss Billy on stand
I thought she was asking. Mr. Chairman, we got some employees that is like Laverne and John and David that have not been able to take their vacation. Well, we need to pay these folks for their vacation instead of losing them. And that's the only reason I say this, because their department heads, John, them had all that flooding, and Laverne hadn't had the help that she needs in there, and she's had to work Saturday and Sunday and all the time trying to, stay up with the accounting in there.
Do we have any idea about what this amount of monies is?
We looked at, John's is not that much, is it?
I did a spreadsheet today, and they paid everybody who was over their, 80 hours, it's about 12 grand.
12,000?
He's got a lot of people.
I think he told me he had something like 160 hours, I believe.
It's a lot more than that.
John's is more?
Well, no, not John's, just John's, I'm talking about the whole department.
No, we're just talking about paying the, department heads that could not take off.
I think John has about 100 hours over.
I thought we looked at his and it was less than that, cause he has taken several days trying to take them off. But I didn't know he was on vacation, I called him a couple of weeks ago.
No, 860, we've been trying to take them off for the last 4 weeks.
Right.
A lot of time, but that's the list of what he got left.
Why don't the commissioners get these lists, so we know what's going on, instead
I
of when
just
we get
got-
to the table?
I just said just put it
Well,
on.
you should have had one.
I know I should, but I didn't.
Ms. Bowles and I were gonna bring that up in executive session, and we could look at all of those folks. I know you're saying,
I ain't gonna look at all of them, I can tell you
Well,
that, cause they should have taken their vacations.
okay, you look at what you wanna look at, I'm just telling you. We're gonna bring them up where you can look at the whole list of the people who got excessive vacation, over 80 hours. And if you wanna look at just department heads, we can look at that. But when you say public works did this and they couldn't take off, well, so did the other workers out there who they had to, out there in the storms and the rain. So they couldn't take off either, so.
But they've had time to take theirs off, Mr. Gaines.
So,
This happened in July. And everybody should have been warned, if you don't take it, you're gonna lose it.
everybody has been warned. So now you wanna make exception. You're gonna make exception, look at
You
everybody.
know, this is just for department heads now.
Well, we've got some people here I see. See, Glenn Garfield's got 53.83 hours.
That's what you got left. But see, you can take over 80.
No, that's not kinda needed. That's in excess of 80.
So we've got several people on here. Kay Fox got 11 and a half hours on, Brett Bridges 13. Some of them don't have that much, but they're in excess of 80 hours. I mean, I agree, some of them should have been able to have taken it, but it's hard to take it when you had the kind of weather we've had this year. I think that's something we need to review, come up with some kind of an answer on it, if we have to go into executive session with Mr. Judge. You wanna talk about the executive session, we can go into that. At the end of this, what you wanna do.
That's fine.
Okay.
The other thing I had was Matthew, and it was about the landfill. And I think all that got settled this afternoon with TTL and Matthew, and Mr. Cosby was in there, I was in there, Alita was in there. Sometimes EPD and EPA don't give you a whole lot of notice, but we're out of compliance with our, inert landfill out there, and we have to come into compliance. So we chose to take option 2,
Yep.
is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And we have to June the 15th to get in compliance, is that correct? June the 1st,
I believe that is correct.
it's June the 1st, I got it right here.
Yeah, they had more dates and problems.
And what we have to do is get a new permit. And they got to, put the points out there again.
TTL's gonna get that up for us.
Yeah, but I'm gonna make a motion that we turn this over to TTL and to Matthew Henry, and let's get this landfill going. Inert landfill.
Okay. Have a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
That's it.
Okay. Mr. Billy?
I wanna back up a minute, I don't feel like apologizing, I wasn't taking a nap. I reach a point sometime, I just had to say, Lord, I got to have help. I get too involved in this thing in our county here. My roots is as deep and like many of the others out here. I was born and raised here. I came from 9th District, Scooterville, Georgia. We probably different than anybody else in this whole county. And if you wanna see what I'm talking about, come visit me sometime. We'll go around and let you talk to some of the there's a few down there even older than I am that's got a world of history and thing about them. We have got to get beyond where we at up here at this board. I'm gonna tell you, as I stated, a gentleman walked up tonight, he said, I wanna ask you some questions, I know you'll tell me the truth. He says, can and will this county ever get back on track of things? He said, it's just a disgrace and ridiculous of all this going on out here. And then I had a gentleman, if they've ever been an icon in Worth County, talked with him a few days ago. He said, I wanna ask you 3 questions. Can you tell me anything that's been done for the good or benefit of Worth County in the past 11 months or so? I said, sir, you know I'm not gonna lie to you. I said, our sheriff's department, our fire department, our ambulance services, all of that is still on track and performing and working well. We have paved the first road this year. We have resurfaced the first road. You just heard the gentleman had say we had money from the state sent down here to do it. And for some reason, we can't get organized to the point that we can even make a decision on what we're gonna do and how we're gonna spend that money. And it is a fact, if we don't start spending, they gonna quit sending it. I mean, they not gonna beg you to get out here and spend it. My prayer over this holiday, and this is coming from my heart, somehow in some way, and if I'm the problem, if the people let me know, I'll say adios, good luck to you. I don't wanna be no hindrance to anyone, I don't wanna hold progress back, I wanna see things move forward. I have always took pride in wherever I went. Yes, I'm from Worth County, it's worth it. Worth County has always been a shining light all over the state of Georgia here. Our 911 service was ranked number 3 in the state on this. Our fire department and things down there have had honors, and we have one of the chiefs sitting in the office tonight, Mr. Gabriel Rice, I'm sure has made comment, is that right, Mr. John? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, we're not second class to anyone, and we look like we just don't even know what we even come into this meeting for, or what in the world is going on down here. Now, a while ago, I missed that, Mr. Gaines, there were 2 papers down here. One of them was on Mrs. Whitley. Bring me back up to that. Did you make a motion on that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, on both of them.
Well, see, I'm sorry I couldn't hear it. Can y'all hear him all right out there?
No, we can't hear any of it.
Well,
We a bunch of aged, old people, and we have, all of us are hard of hearing.
well, I don't have a hearing problem, but if you want to talk to me in private, I'll tell you why my hearing's not perfect, so. But anyway, would you make that motion again? I didn't understand it.
But I can explain what went on in the motion, but since it's been made and voted on, I don't think we can do it again, but what I was saying in terms of the 2 employees that you saw before you, one of them was our county clerk. We voted to pass her a 6-month work test, and we also said at the time that we hired her that if she passed the 6-month work test, she would get a rate increase. We did not give that rate increase yet, so that was what the paperwork was for, to make that right. Some of the board members had some discussion about Ms. Marcia when she was put in the interim E911, if the paperwork was sent up and everything. Well, to cover that, we redone the paperwork so it made sure that it reflected that she is the interim E911 director and at a given rate from what she was making. So that's the purpose of those 2 employees getting put back on for personnel consideration, so that we'll have the paperwork, and our auditor is telling us that you gotta have the paperwork. If you do something, you gotta have the paperwork to follow. So.
And we passed on the E911.
That's correct.
All right. You make the motion on the clerk. Will you do that
He's
again?
already done
We done that. We done that too.
Already done it.
Well, did it pass?
It passed, yes,
All
sir.
right, I just wanted to.
Yeah.
Okay. Most of my time, Marcy was E911. I wanna say something in reference to our sheriff up here that came before this board. I had said to myself, let things go, forget about it. But he mentioned about the budget down at the fire department down there. And they are way over, and that's because that this county saw fit to furnish 2 firefighters to the city of Sumner down there. And they were supposed to pay quarterly in money so that the budget.
One time.
They was-
Contract calls for
that
one
we
payment.
wouldn't run over in that. And the reason that they are over down there because according to Miss Laverne, just a few days ago, they hadn't been anything paid. On top of that, we went and gave them a fire truck. Scooterville don't even have a fire truck. And I wanna refer to the attorney here, that we that live within range of that fire section, we got to pay, I paid my taxes Tuesday, and I brought a good bit of money up here. Do we have to pay the same rate of taxes when we don't have the services that other parts of the county has? I don't see how that can be fair. I mean, we don't even have a fire station open and running down there.
The answer is you do, but you have, your service issue throughout the county is, driven by, a whole range of things. Of course, your chief can tell you from, the distribution of your population, the ability to place folks at, in those areas where you got more density to provide the coverage. There's an overlay, kind of a veneer, you might say, of not regulation, but kind of guidelines that the fire service folks have to respond to and comply with. It's called the ISO folks, and that's the and they kind of oversee, they're the insurance people that oversee where the best opportunities for fire service to get the rates down. They kind of work in conjunction at the state level. And so I hadn't done a survey of where we talked some the last time we had an opportunity to meet about where you had the coverage and where you don't. And there are certainly, as I understand it, places where you have less coverage in the county than others. And you just, from a management standpoint, at the board level, you have to try to look at those areas, look at what your available funds are, look at what the demographic is, and try to make those decisions. From kind of a operational standpoint, what John and his team are looking at doing is trying to make sure their folks are placed so that they can be within a certain time. That's their response. They're looking at response times. And if I'm wrong, John, you jump in and share with me.
Right.
And so the presence of an engine is only part of the issue. The real issue is what's the response time relative to where certain places are. Right, John?
Yes, sir. The old ISO, you used to have 5 radius road miles from your station. It had to be a station with a frontline pumper. The new ISO says it has to be 5 road miles, not a radius, with a frontline pumper and 2 paid person at that station.
And what that does is, for you folks who don't understand it, what that really means is, as they're looking at the new regulations, it's going to, for local governments and communities, when they looked at where they say where your distribution of fire service ought to be, when you say it's a crow flies, well, it might be 1 mile across the creek, but it might be 20 minutes to get around to get to it. So that really wasn't an accurate representation of what the fire service would be for the folks on the other side of the creek. So what ISO folks have said is, going forward, what we're going to start looking at, and it takes time. You put these things in place, and then you set a new baseline, for lack of a better word, and then against that base, you start evaluating what your service looks like. And so going forward, really in 14 will be a big year for us to start looking at those kind of things and making that determination about whether or not whether we're 5 road miles, meaning we're going to, versus, as the crow flies, and that's going to drive, really what we start looking at in terms of the demands that your part will have. And I suspect that as, the year progresses next year, there'll be some enlightening information you'll be able to share with us.
Yes, sir.
Oh, can I address it?
Yes, ma'am.
Attorney Rowell.
Yes, ma'am.
We're getting an overlay of mapping system.
Great.
They're working on it down in the Board of Assessors,
That's correct.
which we'll be able to use for this.
Correct.
Rather than doing 2 mapping systems.
Well, that's in, everybody, part of the big push in public safety is to have integrated systems, from maps to radios
Right.
to everything, and it does 2 things. Number one, and more importantly, it ensures that we're all singing from the same sheet of music.
Right.
You get one person, singing Amazing Grace, and somebody else singing something else, it doesn't sound too good, but we get, and then the other one is, it really will bring about over time efficiencies, because you will be paying for twice for 2 different mapping systems. And it's gonna be very beneficial then for 911 and fire service and sheriff and everybody else, in that emergency management stuff, So that's a very positive move.
No, everyone wants this county to do something about ISO ratings, because everyone's insurance has jumped way up. But you got to look at what we got. What we have is basically, I'd say, pretty close to worthless. We have 3 fire stations that's sitting, I mean, right on the county line. Warwick sitting right there in hollering distance of Chris County. Over here on County Line Road is sitting probably 200 yards from County Line Road. And then everything out here has got nothing. You came from Tiston, you drove through Sumner.
That's right.
That's where the truck from Scooterville at. You come right on down there to Poland, they got practically not even 3 miles, they got a brand new pumper truck practically sitting there. And you come right on into Sylvester at headquarters. I mean, we got Everett that's just overlapped, and we got Everett that don't have anything out here. But yet the people out there pay the same taxes as someone that's getting a tremendous low rate on there. And if anybody can show me where that's right, I'd like to be some insight on that.
Well,
I mean, fair is fair, right's supposed to be right. I don't care what you do and what game you play.
I understand. I wish I was better at meeting out, you know, the rights and wrongs of the world, but I will say this. We've learned a lot, you know, in over time about overlap where we have, you know, and then in gaps and periods, places where we don't have service. And, you know, part of the long view for all local governments, and Worth County is no different, is to start looking and say, well, where are those gaps, and how do you know, because what happens, you get fixed to a piece of property, you get fixed to a structure, and then that drives, you know, kind of where your trucks are, and so what you really have to, and you know, you take for example, there are communities that really set their system up to respond to the ISO demands and try to get the rating down for their communities. And those people are going to be very unhappy in 14, 15, 16 since they've changed the rules, because now they're going to find where they put capital investments, poured cement slabs and built buildings. They got pumpers in there, and they're not going to get the benefit of those ISO ratings because they're not going to be compliant. So there is a kind of an evolution of this, and there's sometimes you feel like, well, the rules change and they change them, but the more common sense, you know, point that you're making is fair as, you know, over time, how do you find the disbursement of your resources in a way that is that you provide reasonable protection, and that's certainly the number one issue that John has and those folks, and it takes time. It takes time.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. McDonald, Worth County's not the only one with ISO rating. Colquitt County has the same rate that Worth County has now.
And
10.
And there are going to be people that have had ratings at 7s because they've adjusted their fire service under the old paradigm in some of these communities, and they're going to see the ratings go up. So you're kind of trying to do 2 things at one time. Presumably, what ISO folks are trying to do is set a set of guidelines that will have the effect of help broaden that service, you know, throughout the whole community in a way that's, you know, that's going to ensure that we have trucks that can get to the various places within the same periods of time. But they hadn't gotten it right either. And folks have been in the fire service, they've had some missteps that are all at that level. And so, you know, part of what you have to do at our level is say, you look at what you have, look at where those gaps are, and look at what you can do over time to start filling those gaps in, working with the captain and his team to figure out, because nobody knows more than anybody what those service times are. I guarantee you can pick a place on the map, this gentleman can tell you what it's going to take to get there. It just requires, you know, deliberate. It takes a lot of time, doesn't it?
Yes, sir. It does. And we're behind the 8 ball anyway. We're the 8th largest county in the state of Georgia. We have 564 some odd square miles to cover. I mean, it's behind the 8 ball anyway. But I mean, we're better than it was. Maybe next year we'll be better than we are.
Yes.
I'll just make a comment about the Sumner Fire Station. There was a contract signed last year by this board to provide 2 men, or at least to provide 5 men, and Sumner would pay for one of them. And we were also to provide a fire engine too. So we wanted to contract on that, and that's what we have what we have done on that.
I
Okay.
don't dispute that, Mr. Chairman. But when this county can do things like that, and the sheriff stands back there in a desperate need of things like that, and then we can't find the money to do things like that, I think that's time when we start looking at things the way they should be looked at, and putting some things in perspective on this board up here. I mean, I don't see where we entitled to give anyone anything. A city has the same right to tax just like a county does. If they want more, they can raise their taxes just like we could raise our taxes down here. And I'm not disputing that it wasn't board action. And I'm not speaking against that. I was in the hospital when that happened, having 2 surgeries on kidney stone. And I wasn't even thinking or concerned about anything like that.
Mr. McDonald, just give some their time to get their police department down there, honey, and then they'll be independent down there. Because that's what they gonna use their money for, to run that
I wanted
program.
I wanted to do the other time for Marcy if she will come up. I will while she's coming up. We did have a situation the other day. I was able to get a hold of Mr. Gaines. I was able to get a hold of Mr. Bozeman. Due to some illness and a number of things that's going on down there. It was only her and one more. The fire department had people down there that could come and fill in and do that. As they worked together handling that, there was some concern about a rescue truck or fire truck being parked up there at the 911 center, but I assure you, had they had a call, they could have responded to that call quicker from where that vehicle sat if it had been backed in the bay down there at the fire department. So no fire service was put in jeopardy as what did. And I think it's only well and good when you got departments that have people that can help and work together. You heard me earlier mention to the sheriff about a clerk and a clerk of court, but he explained to me, and I don't understand about that, but until I asked him, I didn't know. Marcy, your time.
Well, with that being said, on the firefighters, all they were doing was answering non-emergency lines. We weren't asking them to dispatch, we weren't asking them to do anything, but more support. Support us that were only there. I have people that are on medical leave that had to have emergency surgeries. I am filling in where I can because I know I'm not gonna cost. I'm salary, so I'm filling in where needed. The reason I asked Mr. Billy so I can come up here and talk was more or less, I've been doing these duties, a lot of extra duties by myself, where the prior director had me. I was helping her every step of the way. I was the only one able to step up to take this role on. And I didn't ask for anything in return from y'all. I just did it. So with that being said, that's what I was gonna hear. Thank you for the motion. But is that gonna start from this day on, or is that gonna give me from when I started doing the duties back in September?
I think the paper said effective immediately or effective Monday.
So all the hard work that I've done prior to today is just a given?
Well, what happened when you stepped into the role, you was put on salary and you got an increase.
That was before the duties. That was before the duties because I went from the dispatcher to be Kenitha's second hand. And that's where I was put on salary because then I was working so much overtime to help out. So I was put on salary.
That was last, she was put on salary.
That was way before I
last
even
year.
took that position.
Yeah, she was put on salary last year.
Okay.
So from that on, I mean, it's only fair. I work so many hours. I'm a single mom. I work a lot of hours to make sure that no one stays the same way. And I'm gonna keep doing it. Because I do it for basically everybody. The citizens, the agencies, and my employees.
Okay. Understand that, or that's why I called you earlier to get the
Right.
step process. But we didn't
time frames. So I don't think the board will have a problem in making adjustment with the time frame.
It's just appreciation.
Well, we appreciate you, I know.
I mean-
but a little money says it better, I
It does.
understand that.
Especially in my shoes.
Yeah.
It really does. And, just to touch base on the Poland council meeting, Mr. Crosby and Mr. Billy were there. I did do test pages with those Poland firefighters, and they all have responded. We have also set up one of their councilmen to actually receive the pages also. They're stating they're not receiving them is the problem. So hopefully we'll get that corrected and they can start responding also. And to be up here, if y'all had any questions for me that I can answer, that's why I wanted to come in front of y'all.
I just wanted to thank you, Marcy, for stepping up when we needed you, and appreciate what you've been doing down
I
there.
love my job, what can I say?
And I'll have to say, she has called me a few times, but what she had talked with me about, she already had everything covered and all that. And I know for a fact that everything's in good hands down there, everything is going well, and they all still doing a terrific job as they have always done down there. Our 911 system is just as effective and all go as it has ever been. And I'm very proud that we can say that. But Shabbat there is involved heavily with our fire department. I appreciate you very much, Mr. Shabbat. And I'm gonna tell you, we got some good things going on down there. We've got people pulling and coming together. I hate that some of you wasn't able to make it to the dinner the other evening out there. It was a wonderful time and everything to be there and see how things were working and going. And, it was just amazing.
Miss Billy, let's move this agenda on. The hour's getting late. On our next, is Worth County Vehicle Trailer Inventory by Department list. This was compiled to get all the vehicles that, the county owns on the insurance list. And, we talked to Williams Insurance, and we told them as soon as we could get this list compiled and get it ready, that we would approve it here at the next board meeting, so that we can get it down there to them so they can adjust their insurance list. And I make a recommendation that we approve this list and get it to Williams Insurance so they
Make
can.
a motion to approve the list and move it on.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consent docket. Worth County Board of Elections and registration of inquiring into the used desk and table from the probate court that's no longer being used by them and at this time remain in the hallway outside the court.
Make a motion that the Board of Elections get the desk from the probate court that's in the hall.
We have a second?
I second the motion, we'll do that on Monday.
All in favor? Aye. Elections Registration Board would like to request a surplus desk and table for the following reasons. The elections office is in need of another desk for outer office to replace the one that has been used since 2005 and is totally falling apart. The desk in the boardroom was obtained as used furniture from the Roads Department in 2009. Sue Potts and Virginia Andrews purchased 2 side-end tables to place our bookcases in. Order that we may use our folding tables to the hall for early voting. The sheriff is now using 2 of them.
Make a motion that we surplus these desks and tables.
Second, anybody? Have a second?
I thought that was what the first one was.
Yeah, I think this was
We'll
just,
get one out of the hall, we're fixing to put 2 in the hall now.
Second motion for whatever good it is.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
The personnel, acknowledge new hiring authorization for payroll of George T. Odom Jr. effective 12/30/13. Magistrate Court, acknowledge interdepartment transfer of Deborah Sapp effective date 12/16/13. Clerk of the Court, acknowledge resignation of Deborah Sapp effective date 12/16/13. Acknowledge job vacancy of clerk 1 position, effective date 12/16/13. In the sheriff's office, acknowledge reclassification of April Young, effective date 12/2/13. Acknowledge termination of Michael Lamb, effective date 12/22/13. Okay, these next two are what we discussed earlier. Job position requisition for deputy sex offender. And a job position requisition for clerk 1. We said that we were gonna look at those two and make sure we had the money. And a drug squad job vacancy requisition for drug investigator. Effective date 01/01/13. Must be 01/01/14. E911, acknowledge reclassification of Rosa Alford, effective date 12/16/13.
What's she be reclassed to?
Ma'am.
What's she being reclassed to?
From part-time to full-time. She's gonna come full-time for this. She's no longer gonna be with Tifton.
Well, that should have been, instead of reclassification, it should have been bring her in from part-time to full-time status.
She's wanting a pay raise also.
Do what?
She's requesting a pay raise also. She's got 15 years experience.
Well, what you gonna reclass her to?
Well, she'll be from part-time
That's
telecommuter to
not,
full-time.
that's not a
with tax.
reason to change pay.
Okay, if there's some other different, I can change it.
You have to reclass somebody, you got to bring them from a dispatcher, a training dispatcher,
Right.
to when they get their license. That's when you reclass.
I'm still learning, so I'll fix the paperwork and get it turned in.
Okay. Is there anything we need to talk about under executive
Wait a
session?
minute, we gotta take some action on this.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure what the motion should be.
That's a good question. Okay, we're talking about Rosa moving from,
She's coming from part-time, so now she's got to go into the dispatching area, she's gotta be on a 6 months work test.
okay. Does she have all of her training, Marcy?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But Mr. Chairman, don't full-time people be paid a little more than part-time people?
What's the starting pay of a dispatcher?
I don't know, but whatever it is, she'll fall right into that slot that they got already set up down there.
Until she goes through the 6 months work test, and then she'll be,
Subject to reclass.
Right. So I need to make a motion in that, actually, we're hiring her from part-time to
We
full-time.
are, yes.
Should be a hire.
Don't we need to run something in the paper on this? We just need to.
Chairman, there should be a better way we could word this. How long has she been working as a part-time?
5 years.
5 years?
Yes, sir.
I mean, it seems strange, somebody been working for you 5 years, then you're gonna put them under 6 months work test.
That's just the way
Don't we need
the
to?
policy is.
Well, we need to look at the policy.
Yeah, don't we need to run ahead in the paper? That's what we did with the fire department when we upgraded part-time to full-time. We had to run ahead in the paper.
You got some, let me just say this, you know.
Yes, sir.
You need some consistency, so what you've been doing, we need to look and talk about that, but the real reality is that, for purposes of the way this is presented at the agenda, you really got a different issue than the way it's, because what you have is a change, you're taking and converting what has been a part-time employee to a full-time employee. And, that may be appropriate, you may need that, and that may be what you need, but my recommendation is if that's really the request, is there a time frame that y'all talked about?
She's actually started. She's one of the ones that filled in for the medical leave.
Okay, I see. If we had somebody who's working, I looked at the policy, I don't remember there being anything that says that you can't bring it up within and hire somebody that's there without, internally promote. But at the same time, if we've been our policy to run the ad, that's just something we need to look at. If she's got it on the ground and she's working, we gotta address that issue.
There was also already an ad that we had ran. I had already put one in the paper. It was a part-time certified dispatcher. So it was already ran for, I think, 2 weeks.
can we
But we
take some time?
hired them, didn't we? We
They
still haven't
backed
hired
out.
the part-timer.
They backed out, the officers backed out,
So that position's still there.
yes.
Can I make a recommendation that I mean, we're gonna meet on the seventh, right? I mean, can we have an opportunity to let you put the paperwork in as is?
The corrected? Yes,
Correct,
sir.
yes, ma'am. And then let us have a chance to look at it, review the policy, then let's take it and we can table this issue and bring it and make sure it's on the agenda on the seventh. Board's educated as to where it is and what the personnel need is. You can provide the information in the submission. And then we'll look at it and bring it forward then if that's
I
just.
mean, I agree with that, but the girl's already working.
I understand, but we've got to figure out a little bit what you want to do. You know, you've got her there, she's coming to work, you're gonna have to, but internally, we gotta look, get the paperwork right, so the approval of this thing is right. So, she's scheduled, I assume,
Yes, sir.
but we're talking, what? 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So, let's,
Just let her go and work then.
yeah, let her come to work, I mean, she's working, but, you know, for our minutes and the clarity, you know, and so that our record's clean, let's look at doing it that way, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, we have one more acknowledgement. Letter of resignation from Cindy W. Young from the Worth County Board of Elections. Make a recommendation that we accept this resignation.
We don't have to do anything on that, or Mr. Costa, because they will be finding somebody else to bring, we have to vote on that first.
Okay, do we have anything to go into executive session?
Y'all wanna talk about this?
We can talk about that tonight.
Not tonight.
No, that'd be too late.
That's right.
The year be gone, we need to do it tonight.
We gotta do this tonight. Sure have. Let me make one more announcement, and then we'll go into executive session, discuss. Board of Commissioners meeting will be held on Tuesday, January the 7th, 2014 at 9 a.m. here in the boardroom.
Chairman, I make a motion, we go into executive session for personnel issue and attorney-client privilege.
Have a second. Okay, all in favor?
We're gonna be in there 5 minutes now, we've been.
I'm gonna be in a while. We'll be back.
Y'all walk slow,
Mr. Gaines, brought up for discussion. We're gonna table this for further review and discussion. I have nothing else on the agenda. Anybody else has
Take a
anything?
motion with adjourn.
Second, have a motion. All in favor? Aye.
Merry Christmas.
We are adjourned. Merry Christmas to all. Santa Claus is good to all of you.
Excuse me, sir. I'm not gonna forget it today.